What's going on, YouTube? We finally made it to the second checkpoint inside of Act 2 on Nightmare, and we've got the deck for you right here. We're going to get into it. We're not going to take too much time because there is a good bit of footage we got to go over and get all the tips and guides in order to make it pretty easy for you. It's a lot easier than the first two missions of Act 2, and trust me, the rest of Act 2, we've already finished it. I'll have another video on the finale of it as well tomorrow. This is pretty simple, and this is going to be the deck you'll use from getting from the first checkpoint to the second one. We'll have a different deck for the finale, but this one works perfectly fine, and there's some key cards in here. You're going to have at least one person on your team running. We start off with Run Like Hell, 15% move speed. Oh, yeah. And if you'd like to copy and paste this deck, it'll be down in the description below. We'll have it listed in order by name, but Run Like Hell, 15% movement speed. We're not worried about that 20% accuracy. As soon as they're hitting you or damaging you, they're already in your face, so that 20%, it's really not going to be a bother. Now, right after that, Inspiring Sacrifice, you could trade this card out. This helped me because I did it in solo. I did it with one other person as well, but if you have somebody else on your team running this, probably a good idea to throw in something with more mobility or accessory damage, and we'll get into why that is later. But right after that, Cross Trainers, 20% stamina, 20% stamina regen, 3% move speed, and 5 health. We want a good bit of mobility with this build. Right after that, Superior Cardio, 20% stamina, 20% sprint efficiency, and 5 health. There'll be more than a few moments where we'll be able to sprint through instead of having to clear out, but other times, why we throw in Hyper Focus, 50% weak spot damage, there's going to be moments we're going to need to clear out some special infected. There's some holdout moments, so you're going to need that amplified damage in order to survive those moments. Padded Suit right after that, we want that damage resistance, 10%, 5 health as well, stamina efficiency, we're not going to worry about that. Grenade Pouch, this is where we start to get into what we really need. By the time you get this one, more than likely the mission you'll be on is trailer parks. What you're going to need is just a couple of pipe bombs, but I'll get into that once we get into the video. Right after that, Bomb Squad, 100% explosive damage. There's going to be some breakers you may face off against. There's going to be possibly ogres. If you have those in the middle of this run, it's 5 missions long. Could be problematic, but this can help greatly in those moments, just amplified from the point where we get this 100% explosive damage. We're going to be running nothing but grenades. When we get to the final mission right before the next checkpoint, we got to use Multi-Tool. If you've done the mission before, or you've run through Vet and you know this mission right before the checkpoint where you got to attach boxes to a helicopter, this use speed is going to make it extremely fast. You're going to need at least one person on your team running this. Otherwise, it's going to be extremely slow. You could still do it without Multi-Tool, but it's just going to make it a lot faster and a lot easier for you. Now, that's going to be all of the deck that you'll need for this run of the checkpoint. Rest of the deck really doesn't matter. Trust me, those cards, I've changed up most of those cards when it comes to the finale of it. And I'll start working on Nightmare builds soon, now that I have the full Act 2 run completed and can go through each of the checkpoints. I'll start testing out different builds, making some of those. But if you have any questions about this, maybe some cards you wanted to place, let me know down in the comments below. And obviously, if you'd like to ask me live, head over to the Twitch. It's going to be a link in the description. I'm streaming every day, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions. And if you'd like to see more of the Nightmare runs, head on over there. We'll be running Act 3 tomorrow. But on that note, let's get straight into the gameplay footage. Let's get the rundown on how to make it through this. Alright guys, let's get straight into the gameplay. Now, this is going to be a bit of a long footage, so we're going to skip certain moments, or skip over certain dull moments in a way, but essentially what we're going to do straight away, the first mission right after that first checkpoint, we're just going to buy ourselves a toolkit, pipe bomb, and pain pills. That's all you're going to need for this first mission. No real reason to buy anything else other than maybe a weapon. If there's an ump in there, if you use an SMG, would prefer that for clearing out some of the special infected. There's going to be more than a few moments where you're going to need that added damage. If it's not there though, go with some attachments that may be better for your gun. Obviously the starting Uzi, not the best, but it'll do in a pinch. Now I definitely had some moments right here. You don't have to technically throw a pipe bomb down here, but slowly clear through here. Sometimes there's occasionally a special infected that automatically spawns, but take your time going through here. You really want to make sure that you maintain as much health as possibly can and grab up some of the copper laying around. Sometimes there's going to be some tools you'll need. You never know what you're going to find that could help you along the journey. We're going to skip forward here. We'll clear this area out, and this is going to be our first moment. This is where we're going to use the pipe bomb. And from this point, lucky enough, but this is not where we use the pipe bomb. I'll show you here in a second. Sometimes there's some supply boxes down here. Occasionally grab those up. Sometimes they're just useless to you though. You haven't taken any damage yet, can't carry it with you. Sadly, some of those moments that can happen. But we'll press this button and then we'll immediately jump straight down here. Now from this point, just have the pipe bomb ready. You know, you could have somebody guarding that back way, but we're essentially just going to book it through this area until we can drop down. We'll jump straight to the right, go straight. Now, I don't know if this water actually slows me down. I'm doing a little bit of a jumping technique to try and quicken up the pace. But once you get to this point, stop running, obviously, but you'll be able to regain that stamina. For whatever reason, the right path seems to be a bit more clear at certain moments, but sometimes there's some special infected down here. The spawn rate in Nightmare is unbelievable sometimes. Thankfully, I got a bit lucky here, but we're just going to jump around here. This is where we're going to utilize the toolkit as well. And we're going to just jump over here. We got all sorts of special infected through here, common infected. We just got to book it all the way up to this door, immediately open it. Sometimes maybe you could clear if you had a full 4-man team, but since I'm doing the solo, I'm just booking it to the next button that I got to press. And jump over across here, jump over, make our way, and just go straight up to the top and press that button immediately. We want this done as quick as possible. Possibly grab some ammo along the way. Best strat that I found was just kind of sticking up here for a minute, just trying to really wait out that door down there opening up because you can't immediately get under it, but there is a short time before it's just about open. You can duck underneath it, so sometimes I'd go and check. Maybe if you're running a 4-man team, try to kite everything, but from that top position, it's pretty easy to pretty much hold it, especially if it's just common infected coming. Other times there's quite a few special infected right here. I'm getting kind of lucky in this run, and I got pretty lucky on a lot of this run actually. But sometimes that's just the main thing that's going to be the one way to win it, is just getting that RNG roll where special infected aren't overburdenedly spawning everywhere. But as you can see, first mission down. Very simple, very easy. One of those that you kind of just speed through. A little bit of clearing at the beginning. But the next mission is going to be the hardest one for the entire run. Arguably, some of the other missions can be a bit harder depending on the corruption cards and what they throw at you, but the second mission seemed to be the one that I kept dying on over and over. Kept running it as, you know, it's one of those missions that I tried speed running, but essentially arguably the best way to run it is to kind of go at a slow and steady pace. We'll be skipping a bit through it, considering I'm just kind of clearing as I go. But as you can see, corruption cards are getting harder. We're just going for damage resistance on this one. And we'll be buying up a pipe bomb and another stun gun. Ended up finding a Vector. If you find a Vector, Vector was pretty powerful. It's very expensive at this moment, but it was well worth it in the end. We'll buy up the attachments. We've got our pipe bomb, pain pills, and stun gun. Ready for everything. Clear out a bit. As soon as I get out of here, I never exit the tunnel immediately. You could jump out and go up onto the rocks on the left, have a little bit of a vantage point just in case I'm special infected. Like you can see, I've already got a hawker on top of me right here. But I got lucky on this moment with the bots. They decided to start throwing things, you know, out of nowhere. It's random whenever they're actually helpful, but that was one of those moments that took a little less time considering I didn't have to clear as much with that pipe bomb already being thrown. Always be on the lookout for those birds. If you sound off any alarms, anything, this is going to be a nightmare for you. For whatever reason, every time I've alerted birds, hit alarm doors. If you can avoid it at all costs. But as soon as I hit one of those, the special infected seem to be just pouring on. And I mean, like, by 5 to 10 could be rolling out in that same moment along with the common horde. And as you'll notice, the corruption card with the flaming zombies, as soon as they get close to you, ooh, man, on Nightmare, that damage is real. You don't want to get anywhere close to those. Like I said, essentially just kind of slowly push through here. Clearing as I go. Bots are working in my favor this time. We're getting things cleared out. I noticed one of the special infected off in the distance, shot it, pulled it over to us. Bots just took care of that clean as day. I mean, whew. They were really working in my favor on this one. We'll skip forward. Obviously, we'll just slowly keep doing this kind of clear out, And the bots, they're obviously just dropping ammo for me if you have at least one bot on your team. One of those sad moments where one of the bots just gets caught in a moment where I can't save it, so we're just going to have to leave it behind, hopefully save it later. I believe up here, essentially right here, I just jump over here to the right, kind of clear out some of the common infected that come, because you can notice all these different types of birds. There's hawkers out there. Try to eliminate the hawkers as you see them, because if they just start stacking up, because for whatever reason it doesn't feel like there's a limit to how many special infected can be on the same match at the same time. So at some point, if you start alerting birds and all this, they're going to stack on top of each other. You can already see there's another hawker waiting for me. Don't know why it hasn't started attacking, but a bit cautious at this moment, just trying to get the angle on it in case it pushes over to me. Eventually I see it push over. We're able to get the angle on it, finish it out pretty quickly. A couple of shots to mom's head. Not going to worry about it. The bots will heal themselves. Well, we'll keep going around this right angle. It seems to be the only way that I was able to get around without essentially alerting most of these birds. Had a few special infected. Like I said, we're going to try and take this as slow as possible in this second mission. You really want to save that continue for later if you ever need to use it. But on this run, I had already used the continue at the very beginning on the sewers mission. So if you do lose one mission, it can be fairly simple to get it done without needing a continue. It's a lot easier than the first act or the first checkpoint. And first act, obviously, or honestly. Well, like I said, we'll clear a bit. I took a bit of a risky move here. Went over to get Holly. Just I had the meat shields of the bots. Then we'll just jump over, do some more clearing. Essentially, this is the rest of this run going forward. We'll try and clear as much as we can. Keep maintaining those special infected. Keep them at bay. Got another one pushing in. Immediately just running away from it, letting the bots take the hit. Not going to worry about taking my damage, because we're going to need it for the final portion of this mission. But after that, explosion. Some of them came to the door. As you already know, shoot next to the door. If there's an alarm door, get some of the infected coming in. If there's not one right behind it, go to one of those windows and shoot through to these little box areas inside of this warehouse. One of them should come through and break it down for you. Now, occasionally, up on these shelves, there could be a healing station. So if you've got some trauma by this point or have some teammates with trauma, jump on up there, grab that healing station. You'll more than likely have enough copper left over. If you don't, well, it's going to be a good luck, have fun moment. But if you do have the copper, if you found the copper along the way and you have enough, this could be one of those moments that saves this mission for you. But we'll keep skipping forward. We'll essentially try to avoid the alarm doors here. Do what we can to stay out of the water, because it's just going to slow us down. But from those two doorways, our common infected are going to come through. There could be possibly a horde any moment. Sometimes it just throws it at random. Very frustrating, but if you back up a little bit, you should be able to handle it. Funnel it through some of these areas. Maintain one bot alive. Obviously, you want that infinite ammo. You don't want to be needing it later on. This is one of those moments where kind of got a bit hectic. Special infected came out of nowhere. A couple of them went down. I think Holly ended up dying as well. Yep, definitely happens more than likely, or more often than not. Things went a bit sour at the end of this mission. I ended up losing two of the bots. I think Mom also went down, but you want to slowly push into this area, really clear out that common infected. You want to essentially clear out the entire area inside, get rid of all the special infected as well. Notice there was a hawker there, another hawker right there. Get rid of those as quick as possible. And what you'll want to do is find out where each one of the node location is for this nest. And you're just going to be booking it for the most part. Let's get to the starting point where I start. I think I just blew up one. Now we're moving over to the next one. And essentially it's much like the police station strat from the first checkpoint in Act 2. We're just going to try and move in a circle. I made some risky moves on this one, trying to utilize some of the propane tanks, trying to get rid of some of the special infected. Ended up just blowing up most of the nodes and just not worrying about it, just trying to do the circle strat. You know, just keep them moving in a circle and then work my way around. wasted a pipe bomb right here. Could have been useful later on. But in that moment, I needed a little bit to alleviate myself. As you can see, another special infected. Sometimes there will be massive amounts of special infected. It's another one of those RNG moments. Right now, it feels pretty slowed down. Now, I did do this on the regular campaign mode. I tried to solo queue and find other people, but I'm solo waiting for other people to join, essentially, at this point. But nobody ever joins this match. Now we've got that one down. I believe that was the last one. Yeah, now we have to blow the final note up. And once we get that done, let me make sure, maybe some people don't know, but you'll just essentially climb up, go over to the right side. There could be some sleepers on the left. If you have a lot of teammates alive by this point, it could be a good idea to start looting in that area a little bit, take out some of those, grab up some of the leftover copper. You're going to need it pushing forward, just in case you need some like team upgrades or pipe bombs, essentials for each one of the missions. Now we're on Trailer Trash. This is by far the easiest mission. I mean, you'll be able to speed run this one, but at the beginning is the hardest part. And sadly, about the midway through, just about to the point where I just needed to book it all the way to the safe room, OBS decided to shut down, so I don't have the remaining footage from the end of Trailer Trash. But essentially, you'll just go off to the right and then book it all the way up. And then over to the left is going to be the safe room. You could decide to kind of clear things out, grab up some of the loot. It seems like one of those levels where you're just accumulating copper, attachments, different things. It's one of those, it's not exactly that difficult, but it's more of like preparing you for what's coming ahead. But essentially, we'll clear out everything through here. We'll do the same strat that we did with the last mission, by slowly clearing out all the common infected, looking for birds, looking for snitches, taking out any special infected that may come our way. But one thing we want to buy by this point is 2 pipe bombs, a toolkit. Toolkit is going to be absolutely necessary for the beginning of this mission to really make this an absolutely smooth run. It's going to make your life a whole lot easier, especially if you don't alert any of the snitches or birds. You're going to be able to basically just run through, easily kind of clear things out, and just move forward. But in this moment, I use the bots to take care of the snitch, slowly clear things. We're going to push across the way. Don't really clear that on the left just yet. We'll come back to that because we got to cross that point after. But by the next point, we move all the way down. And if you use a toolkit on this drawbridge right here, you will not sound off for the horde. That's why we want to use this. We want to make this mission as, non-hectic as possible. We want to make this as simple as can be able to move forward without any stress. Because this mission, the mission coming after this, will essentially kind of do the same thing. But we want to make sure that we've either got to continue leftover or we maintain as much health as possible. Because that last mission is really what it's going to be counting for. Since this is 5 missions long, you really want to do this as perfect as you can and with as little annoyance as you can possibly have. And anytime you can avoid using a horde or calling a horde, it's going to be beneficial for this run. But we'll move across steadily, just clearing things out, waiting for the boat. I got pretty darn lucky with this. Not a lot of special infected. I think I even made a note of it right there. Hadn't had one, but right on cue, another one popped up. So always be wary of that, looking around, making sure there's not something lurking in the shadows. And if there is, hit it a little bit so you can get it at a distance and kind of fire upon it before it gets to you up close. Some of these tall boys, some of these bruisers, exploders, I mean, it could literally just take one of them sneaking up on you or just getting close enough to completely rip the run. It's going to be that harsh at certain moments. And you'll see it at the end. There was a moment where I got pretty much insta-killed by one of these tall boys. It's nightmare. That's the best I can state it. It's nightmare. And if you do have fog on this map, be wary. There are some birds off in the distance. I didn't even notice. I'm glad I didn't just start spraying off in the distance right there. Because right where that hawker was pretty much right angled with those birds. Had I just lit it up straight up right there without even thinking about it, could have been another horde on top of me. So it's one thing to look out for. Maybe some more packs of birds early on inside of this trailer park. But if you can, just avoid them. But by the time you get past this gate, if you do alert them, just book it all the way to the safe room. It's one of those missions where by the time you get on the other side of this gate, just go straight, go left, and then go left again. And then you'll be straight at that safe room. We'll skip forward a bit. Had one of those moments where there's multiple, and lucky enough, bots had my back on that one, had enough damage going forward. Good idea to clear out some of the common infected before you get into the gate area, and some of the special infected that may spawn or already be waiting for it. Sometimes this door is alarmed along with the other ones, so you just want to alert some of those zombies, get them to break down that door. I wasn't sure about this door. Sometimes some things can fall off. That sign may not be there. Occasionally it may just be laying on the ground. I don't know if that's something hit it, maybe an explosion of some kind, or a zombie. Sometimes the sign just falls off and it'll just be laying on the ground, but it's still an alarm door, and it won't alert you that much. Now, by this point, this is when the OBS stopped, but lucky enough, I was able to pull it up right after I finished the mission, but now we're on to the next. Now, this one's a bit difficult, but it can be almost as easy as the previous mission before this. Now, by this point, we're going to grab up our explosive damage, and this is going to be really beneficial for us in this mission, considering at the very end when we need to get on top of this ferry, there could be some alarm doors, and by that point, more than likely, you're going to need to break them down instead of trying to alert a zombie to come and get it. Lucky for me, I did have 2 of the doors actually get broke down before I ran in. Sometimes this can be one of those things. You could take this slow and steady. That can work. But if you do alert some birds or get an alarm going off, immediately just book it all the way to the end. Forget about everything. Just run all the way to the end. But we'll be picking up 2 grenades for this one. Clear out the area a bit. And then move forward. You'll essentially want to clear this area out. We'll start off similar to the last mission where we'll just go slow and steady at the beginning, but once we reach the next bend around the corner is when we're going to just start booking it all the way to the end. Take out those special infected, take out the common infected. Now, as you saw before, or you can see on the left boss layer, we have a boss to face in this one. I wasn't sure what it was going to be. If it was going to be an ogre, I was immediately just going to book it past. Pretty much going to hope for the best. If it's a hag or an ogre, you're going to have a smooth run. You'll be able to run past them and make it all the way to the end pretty easily, as long as you have somebody that can blast through the special infected at the very end. That's where that grenade damage is really going to come in handy. But I had a breaker on this mission. Now, lucky enough, we did get the 100% explosive damage, so we were able to do a little bit of damage towards the breaker in this moment. But as you can see, the grenades at a gray level aren't going to be the greatest of damage, and since I only had 2, I didn't even have enough, or I didn't grab any more thinking that I would need it, and I can't go back to the buy station now. So we just got to rely on that 50% weak spot damage and constantly hit this, because whenever a breaker does spawn, that swarm circle is going to start closing in on you, and it forces you to actually go through and fight this. Now, later on the last mission, I thought when the breaker spawned there would be a swarm circle, but it turns out there's not. So, but we'll get to that here coming up soon. But as you can see, just slowly dwindling it down, just playing to the best of my ability. Try to get one of the bots back up. This is where that, inspiring sacrifice comes in handy. I got a good bit of health off of that, was able to maintain. We ended up getting it down. Luckily enough, the bots were shooting it while they were down as well, so they were eating at that health. But by this point, if you make it to this point and you don't have an ogre, you haven't alerted any birds, anything along those lines, you'll just want to run along this right path right here. Now, you could take this slow and steady. It could work out for you. You could possibly get some loot out of this, maybe some more copper if you wanted to continuously kind of pick around and pretty much obtain as much as you can before going to the next mission. It can be very beneficial, but like I said, if things go sideways, if there's birds getting alerted, alarm door getting hit, just book it all the way through. But as you can see, we'll just go off to the right. We'll slowly push along these edges. But once you make it to this boat right here, this blue boat on my right, this is the point where you essentially just want to keep booking it. You really don't want to go too slow and steady right here. Anything could go wrong. I've even fallen off the edge over here from my own grenade blast trying to take care of some special infected. This is a pretty dangerous area. For whatever reason, they left some open spots. Like you notice that on my right, that water, if you even touch that, boom, that's you gone right there. Now here was one of those moments. You can see there's double doors right there that are going to be alarmed. If you have somebody already alerted the birds, other things like that, just push through there. Do what you can. Have those grenades at the ready. Sad thing is I don't have any grenades, so I'm kind of having to play this a bit slower. A bit worried about going through here, and you'll notice both doors are alarmed again. I'm going to have to forcibly go through this. Somehow I scared birds, beyond me how I even just did that right there, but then had to hit an alarm door, and lucky enough, now I was able to push through here, but you can see right there, Crusher, there's going to be a lot of special infected just waiting for you right there. That's where you want those grenades to go for. Just start tossing them, blow a way through. Don't worry about the rest of your teammates if you have those with you. As long as one person makes it through, you can make it through the next mission. Now we're on the final mission. Now I did this once before with one other person, and by the time we got the final box, I had put all the wires on it, and somehow the box had just disappeared. There was a bug of some kind, and the spot that it told me to gather everybody was off in an area that I couldn't even go over to. Apparently my teammate could see the box, so if that does happen, just stay right where that box was where you were attaching the lines, and hopefully that works. I don't even know if it would have worked on that run, but lucky enough I had this. I had a lot of luck in this mission. You'll see coming up. We'll essentially let this one play out, but we're going to buy as many grenades as we can possibly obtain, and we'll buy up at least 2 pipe bombs. If you have more, essentially 10 grenades and 4 pipe bombs would be ideal for this mission. That's going to benefit you, and if you have the ability to upgrade the grenades up to a green rarity, that's going to be even better, and even better for the pipe bombs. But what you'll do is you'll walk over to this edge and just slowly toss over everything and then leave it right there, because we'll come back to this spot later on once the breaker spawns, and we'll use these grenades to take him out. Now, things didn't go exactly as planned with this final mission as I would have liked them to, so I didn't end up killing the breaker, so that's one thing I learned. You don't have to kill the breaker in order to finish this mission, but we'll get to that once we get there. Now by this point, you'll just start clearing things out. Clear some of the common infected out. Get some of those special infected as well. Just clear the area out so you have as much room to breathe by the time the next horde starts coming in. And that way you're not just constantly running from common infected and special infected. You could arguably try to do that, but the best bet is to take everything on as it comes at you, but keep it at a distance. That's where our mobility is going to come in strong with this one. It's not essentially just running away from everything, but just putting enough distance so we can lay down that fire, be able to take it out without taking the damage from it. And from this point, we'll just push forward, clear everything out, get some of those special infected. Horde's pretty much already started, and we got to get over to that box and start tying these lines. Now, this is where that multi-tool is going to come in. Huge advantage. At least one person needs to have this while the other 3 guard that one person getting it done. Bots didn't do exactly the greatest job. I ended up having to throw a pipe bomb early. They should have been able to handle this, but if you have at least 2 other people, they should be able to handle the common horde while you get this done. Now, later on, I'll show you what it looks like in order to attach those hooks without the multi-tool, because trust me, you'll notice the difference. It takes a lot longer, and in moments like that when it just keeps calling the horde, you're going to need that quick pace of just getting those lines on. It's going to be a huge help, and those explosives are going to be a huge help when it comes to the breaker. Now if you have the green grenades and you don't get one shot by a tall boy, you're going to be able to take out that breaker. It's just going to be a whole lot easier if you take out the breaker. Anything could go wrong if you leave it alive. I got lucky on this mission. But if things go to plan, you shouldn't have a problem when it comes to if you have the grenades and you have these abilities available to you for the team. Now we were going smooth here for a second. Everything was going quite all right. I had 44 health left. I probably should have popped some pain pills. But as it turns out, whenever you get a corruption card that does monstrous for tall boys, they will do 60 damage per hit. And if you know how aggressive tall boys are, doesn't matter if you're trying to run away. If you don't have something like Mag Dash or something else, boom. That was it. I thought that was it. I thought that was the end of it. Thought it was over. Quickly, boom. Grabbed up Holly. I honestly sitting here thinking this mission is not going to go well. Not finishing this. I don't have a continue left. I'm grasping at straws at this moment. I'm living on nothing but just hope that maybe I can make it. And at this point, I try to start running around, hoping that my body will spawn somewhere. Maybe I can pull it off. That doesn't end up happening. I start hearing another horde coming. I'm just like, all right, we just got to get back to it. We got to attach the lines and just try to get out as quick as we can. If it's even possible. Turns out it was possible, but you'll notice how slow it is without that multi-tool. It takes a lot longer to not only get on to start attaching it, but let go to attach the next one as well. But from this moment, doing essentially the same thing without all the cards right now, that would be benefiting me greatly. Just clear out the common infected. Mombot automatically just gets thrown off the edge. Lucky enough she doesn't get thrown off to be a complete dead. But again, one of those moments where, boom, I mean, it doesn't take much. If those tall boys get close enough, like I said, it can be a complete game ender by that point. Absolutely. If you can't take them out before they get to you, it's going to be serious damage and it's going to be a serious problem. That's why I say a lot of these moments need to be taken kind of slow and steady. Keep everything at a distance, maintain that distance, and just keep putting down that fire before they can get close. Because trying to turn around and book it when they're that close, it's just not going to happen. And by this point, the breaker's already spawned. Now, this is one of those moments where I don't have the 100% explosive damage with the cards. We don't even have them upgraded to being green, so they're not quite going to be as powerful as you want them to be. Now, I thought to myself, possibly, maybe there's a swarm circle going on right now. You can see the area doesn't look exactly right. It looks weird, but I thought that was me being outside in the swarm, but it wasn't. It was just the Inspiring Sacrifice activating, healing me a bit. Now, by this point, we're getting pretty low on grenades. I pretty much tossed everything that I have. We're not even halfway on this breaker. I'm like, I don't have any weak spot damage. I mean, that grenade's barely doing any damage to him at this point. But here going forward, I think I pick up Walker. Now, this is a dangerous play. I wouldn't highly suggest this. Mom's putting a bit of damage on there, but turns out we've got the final crate available. If you can just wait it out and you can kite that breaker and keep him off in that corner, especially, you'll be able to make it. Now, don't do the stupid thing that I did and went right, because I was just looking at those like, okay, maybe I can go up through stairs over there, go all the way to the left if it's on this ferry, break open the door, clear out some of the common infected, and then straight up on the right, this is going to be the last one. Now, I'm freaking out at this point. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to make it. The breaker, I mean, he comes up to the same level I'm at. We've got a stalker down there. I mean, at any moment I could just get grabbed. I've only got one bot protecting me right now. But as soon as you get that last one on, boom, we're there. Somehow did it without any of the cards. Got pretty lucky on this run. Sometimes that's what you're going to be ending up relying on when it comes to the corruption cards. I did have some harsh ones when it comes to that monstrous armored tall boy, or monstrous tall boy by itself, even without the armor. If it's armored, it's going to be a lot harder to take down. But that's how you're going to make it through to the second checkpoint in Act 2. And tomorrow, I've already made it to Act 3. I'll get the video done for that one. The end finale for Act 2 is beyond easy. You'll essentially just use a grenade build. I'll have that deck coming out tomorrow along with the video tip guide. It's going to be a lot shorter, a lot easier to get done. know this has been a long video, but hope this has helped you. This is going to be a lot easier than Act 1. It's going to be a lot easier than the starting portion, getting to the first checkpoint in Act 2. And if you have teammates, it's going to go a lot easier. I would suggest at least having one pot, just to have that infinite ammo. Could be a benefit to a meat shield as well, just to let the bot get grabbed up by a crusher in some tough moments, things of that nature. But on that note, that's going to be the end of it. Hope this has helped you out. If you have any comments or if you have any questions about any of the portions of this, anything to do with running through this Act 2, just let me know down in the comments below. Or you can hit me over at Twitch. I'll have a link in the description. Ask me any questions over there. I'm more than happy to help while I'm live. We'll also be doing some private swarm matches tomorrow and Sunday. If you'd like to join in for that, just have a good bit of fun. But if you also want to see me pushing through Nightmare, if you want to just see some live runs, running through Act 3, we'll have that going tomorrow as well. I'm streaming daily. But on that note, have a good one, guys.